disconnected. Then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. Genesis 2, verses 15 through 17. To many people, the penalty for eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil seems rather severe. We live in a world saturated with violence, and our way of thinking, eating forbidden fruit seems akin to stealing from the cookie jar. Naughty, breaking the rules, ill-advised, but not evil. The more you read the Bible, however, the more sense it makes. God is the sole source of life in the universe. Not only did he create all things, in him all things consist. Paul told his audience in Athens that God gives to all life, breath, and all things. When our first parents chose to disobey God, they made a conscious choice to stop trusting him. They rejected his authority and voluntarily stepped outside of his kingdom. Consequences. Human beings, unlike God, are not self-existent. We depend on the source of life for our existence. And what happens when you impair your connection to the source of life? You die. Natural consequence of disobedience. But I've sinned, and I'm not dead. Some may protest. True, you're not dead yet. Well, debatable. Our situation is not unlike an electric fan that suddenly is unplugged from the wall. The blades may keep spinning for a few minutes. In most cases, just a few seconds. Eventually, they slow and stop. A car that runs out of fuel on the freeway may coast for a quarter of a mile before it stops, but it will stop. Our whole world has been impaired by the choice made to separate ourselves from God. And the signs of decay are everywhere. The world is running, but it's running down. When you look at declining lifespans throughout the book of Genesis, you will see that we have gone from living for nearly a millennium to living for nearly a century. When God told our first parents that sin would result in death, he wasn't making an idle threat. He was warning. A reminder that we need him to live. He was pointing to the natural consequence of rebellion. Ours is not a hopeless case, however. In the Bible, we're reminded, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. The best way to use this today? Take advantage of the gift. Find every opportunity to reconnect with the Creator.